Went to my computer, and at 6:30 my head began to spin. I had been getting some dizzy spells for the last 6 months, but all of a sudden this dizzy spell, which normally disappears after 30 seconds, didn't go away. In fact, it accelerated until the room was spinning like a top, and I ended up having to go in the bathroom because I was nauseated and I started vomiting. And then every time I sat up, I threw up. And I had to lay down on the bathroom floor. Unfortunately, my wife hadn't left for work, and she said, "Are you okay?" And I said no, and no was not the answer she wanted to hear because she was headed to work. Well, once she evaluated my situation, and once I stumbled and got to the couch, she decided to call 911, and the paramedics came and took me to the hospital here in Escondido. Once I was evaluated, the doctor said I needed to be on the 7th floor because that was the neurological floor. He had evaluated, or actually she had evaluated, that all the medications for vertigo didn't work, and that there was something more serious going on. So on the neurological floor, they took an MRI, a CAT scan, and they imaged my heart, my carotid artery, and my stomach. And through the MRI, they spotted a small blockage in one of my blood vessels above my left ear. And that caused a mild stroke. Me, a fitness expert, a person who trains teachers how to increase physical activity, me, I have a stroke? My first thought, you gotta be kidding me. Can't be me. Has to be somebody else, but it was me. And it did explain why my left hand was so uncoordinated. I was wondering why when I picked up food I went smack and missed my mouth. 2 days after I got home from the hospital, I was in taking a shower and I put some shampoo in my left hand and I went and completely missed my head. Well, that made sense now because the stroke was just above my left ear, which is why I was so uncoordinated. Well, on the third day I'm in the hospital, it's Saturday morning, and I'm finally feeling a little better, not spinning as much. Nurse comes in, she's talking with me, she asks me if I want to have a chaplain come in, because something I had marked in the questionnaire when I first came to the hospital. I said, that's interesting. Do I want a chaplain? And from there, I launched into my testimony. I told her about how I came to know Jesus Christ and how she could come to know Jesus Christ. I said, where are you spiritually? And she said, well, I'm a seeker who has a lot of questions. I said, great. I said, that's why I'm here. I can answer a lot of your questions. And she said, well, I really don't have the time. So I said, well, can I recommend a resource? And she said, great, go ahead, recommend a resource. I said, read the book, The Case for Faith by Lee Strobel. I said, I've given it to a couple people who have read that book and have come to know Jesus Christ. I said, I can bring a book. I can have my wife. She'll bring a book up. I'll give it to you. She says, funny, I have that book. I said, have you read it? She said, no. I said, well, then your assignment is to read that book. And she left, and I haven't seen her since. But I realized this is a great opportunity. The hospital is a great place for evangelism. So the next nurse that comes in, I got in a conversation with her, and I find out her husband is attending seminary, and she's a Christian already. And then the third nurse I talked to that day, I found out that she wants to witness to her neighbors, not her neighbors, excuse me, her relatives who are Mormon. I said, I know a lot about Mormonism. In fact, I have a website that will help you share with Mormons. And since that time, she has been on my website, she's emailed me, she has thanked me that her and her husband have been looking through the website, and it's just been a real blessing. And something came to mind at the end of the day, or actually partway through the day, as I was sitting there sharing with these nurses, something that John Piper, a pastor from Minneapolis, Minnesota, said that has always stuck with me. Don't waste your cancer. In other words, the hospital is a great place to share your faith. And I thought, well, Steve, don't waste your stroke. Tell people about Jesus. And that's what I did. Do I want to go back to the hospital to evangelize? Well, not under these circumstances, but I know the next time I go there, I'm going to share with as many people as I can. And so can you. It's a great place to tell people about Jesus.